Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Gids. Thank you so much for joining me in today's video. So for today's video, I thought I would talk about my love at first sniff fragrances. These are the fragrances which captured my heart from the jump. I fell in love with these. These stole my heart. These are the fragrances which were from the get-go really a love at first sniff for me. And I don't think I've ever spoken about love at first sniff fragrances on my channel. I speak about the fragrances that I do enjoy, obviously, but these are the fragrances which I fell in love with from the jump, the first sniff. So let's kick it off with one which is very, very special and holds a very, very special place in my heart. It is this one from Armani Prive. Now, Armani Prive for me have some incredible fragrances in their repertoire. They have a really beautiful private line. So do check out Armani Prive because they always release incredible fragrances. Anyway, this one is the one that really stole my heart. It's the only one that I own from the private collection, but I do have my eye on quite a few. This is called Rose d'Arabie. Rose d'Arabie is obviously centered around the note of rose. This is a rose, amber, patchouli, oud type of fragrance, but it's not your typical rose oud. This for me is one of the smoothest rose oud fragrances I've ever smelled, by far. It's so smooth, it's so warm and opulent, it's just incredible. So it has this real luscious damask rose in the fragrance alongside some patchouli, some oud and some other woods and some saffron as well. So it's a very warm, opulent, rose forward fragrance. Really classy and very opulent. This, many years ago, I remember I was having a really bad day and I was in this job that I hated, and my thing to get my mood and my energy to, you know, my happy place was smelling fragrances, sampling fragrances. And I went and I discovered this and it completely changed my mood. I just thought, wow, this fragrance is incredible. It's so smooth, it's so opulent, but classy. I had never smelled a fragrance this well blended up to that point. I think the blend of Rose d'Arabie for me is one of the most beautifully blended fragrances that I have ever smelled in my life. I know that's a bit dramatic, but it really is a very well blended fragrance. It's very opulent, it's quite a strong fragrance as well, so the rose won't knock you out, and especially if you are maybe someone like, you know, like a lot of men are afraid of wearing rose. This is one which I think you don't need to be afraid of. Totally unisex. It's warm, it's got those woods in the fragrance as well, which just gives it that depth. And it's one which I love to wear. Rose d'Arabie from Armani Prive. The next one needs no introduction, is this one. This is Frederic Malle's Portrait of a Lady. Now, Portrait of a Lady is a fragrance which needs no introduction. In the fragrance community, this is one which so many people know, so many people love, so many people also hate or don't like, think it smells a bit too mature or boring, or it garners different opinions. But for me, I went in search of this when this was a Liberty exclusive here in London. So in the Liberty store here in London in Regent Street, they have a beautiful perfume section, and at the time this was only being sold in Liberty. Now it's so funny how I discovered this fragrance. There's a whole story time in itself, but to cut a long story short, I went actually to sample a Tom Ford fragrance, and the lady that worked there, me and her, we got talking, and she said, we were talking about fragrance, we were talking about not just Tom Ford fragrances but just fragrance in general, and she was telling me about this Saudi princess who had come in, and she had this bottle of fragrance, and she said, this is what I wear, and she sprayed it on the sales associate who I was talking to at Tom Ford, and the sales associate was telling me about this fragrance. That's how I found out, and I remember I searched it and found where it sold and went and sampled it. This fragrance is a rose patchouli bomb. It is a rose patchouli bomb. It's a fragrance which really is strong in the notes of rose and patchouli. Beautiful fragrance, but I think that's why so many people struggle with Portrait of a Lady, because the rose is really center and forward in this fragrance, and the patchouli is really strong in this fragrance as well. But I particularly Love this fragrance. And similar to Rose d'Arabie, the moment I smelled this, I knew I needed a full bottle. The only thing was it was very, very expensive. So I had to wait until obviously I saved enough to treat myself to a bottle. But I think the fragrance is about here at the moment. And this is just one which holds so many memories. I'll talk about the notes in the fragrance as well. So this has rose in it, it has patchouli, cinnamon, it's got cloves, it's got incense, it's got amber. It's got so many different accords and different notes in the fragrance. So it is a very, very rich, complex, rose patchouli forward fragrance in my opinion. I mean, rose and patchouli are the dominant notes in this fragrance. So often when people smell fragrances that have rose and patchouli, they will often compare it to Portrait of a Lady. And I do think this is the rose to end them all. I do call this the rose to end them all. It's a very opulent, again, another opulent fragrance. I like opulent rose fragrances. I have different types of rose fragrances. Maybe at one point I'll do all of my rose fragrances because it seems to be the category of fragrance that I have the most of in my collection. But this is one which, whenever I need to feel charged up and in control and in my boss mode, I will wear Portrait of a Lady, and that reminds me who I am. Beautiful fragrance, classic memories, and it's just one which I really enjoy wearing. Portrait of a Lady from Frederic Malle. Oud Satin Mood from Maison Francis Kurdijan. Another rose oud fragrance which from the jump, from the first time I smelled this fragrance, I was in love. It's a very smooth rose oud, very warm, very balsamic. It's a sweet rose oud as well, so it is very, very sweet, but the sweetness definitely does calm down as it dries down on skin. But it's one which every time I wear it, it just elevates my mood. It makes me feel charged up. It makes me feel in control. It makes me feel powerful. And it smells so good. It just smells really, really good. Beautiful fragrance, and sort of has a kind of a silkiness to it. Like it's satin. It's literally, as the name would sound, it's very satin feeling. Like it feels like you're wearing satin when you literally have this fragrance on, because it's very smooth and comforting. It's just a nice fragrance to have on. Jersey by Chanel. So from the Les Exclusives, this was the Les Exclusive that I fell head over heels in love with. It wasn't Coromandel, it wasn't Le Lion, it wasn't number 22, it wasn't any of the other ones that I am really in love with now. It wasn't even Comet. Comet I did like, but I wasn't sure about. But Jersey, from the moment I smelt it, and I really went through them carefully, there was always something about this one that I just loved and I kept wanting to smell. And I couldn't remember which one it was, but I figured out it was Jersey by constantly going back and re-smelling everything from the collection. Jersey is a vanilla lavender fragrance with some white musk in this as well. There's definitely more notes than that. I detect as well maybe some florals in this fragrance, maybe a tiny bit of iris. It has a slight waxiness to the fragrance, but on the whole, this fragrance for me is just, it's exquisite. It's exquisite. It smells very, very expensive, like someone whom is incredibly high-powered, very, very assertive, but very well, presents himself very, very well, very eloquent, very confident, and has a good sense of who they are. This is the vibe of Chanel's Jersey, and I don't feel like Jersey gets enough love from the Les Exclusive collection, but this will be the one that I probably will finish first, if I'm honest, and it'll probably be the one that I would want to get in a 200 ml because I love this baby. I love, 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 love Jersey. Jersey it's just such an easy to wear fragrance, and you can wear this all year round, and good performance, just a lovely, lovely fragrance. Jersey from Chanel. Sketszo by Mille Harris. What a beautiful fragrance. This fragrance is one of the scents that they usually will pump out through an electric diffuser, similar to what they do with Penhaligon's with Halfeti. Mille Harris, I don't know if they still do it, but they used to pump this out. And I remember going to Westfield here in London when they used to have a Mille Harris store. They don't have it anymore, which is a shame. and it was being pumped out and it was just traveling down the mall. And I remember thinking, what is that smell? That is incredible. And it was this fragrance here. It was Sketszo, and I popped in and they said, it's our bestseller, it's our main fragrance. And I ended up buying it. This is a rose, peony, oudi, very sweet fragrance. It is very, very sweet. I'm just gonna say that now. It's one of those fragrances which do lean perhaps more on the feminine side, just because it's a very sweet fragrance. So I get that. But the oud in this really adds something to it. Like, it gives it a bit of edge, and it has some orange in this and some Divana as well, and some Narcissus. It's a very unique fragrance. It can be quite polarizing to some people, but I love it. And I love how this juice has gotten darker, I think, from the vanilla in the fragrance. And it just, every time I smell it, it just reminds me of that time where I just had to, like, and this is what fragrance for me should do. Good perfumery really makes you feel something. It makes you either fall in love or say, I don't like it, or just have a strong reaction. I think fragrances which are just indifferent to are the ones which are like, okay. But this one was always a special one. Sweet, warm, vanilla, oud, rose, peony, narcissus, sweet fragrance, but really, really lovely. Sketszo by Miller Harris. Andalusian Soul from the Merchant of Venice. This is the only fragrance from the Merchant of Venice that I own, and this is called Andalusian Soul. This is a fragrance that has some rum in it, some vanilla, some acacia. It's got some incense as well. So it's sweet, but it's boozy, and it's a little bit spicy at the same time. Really lovely fragrance. Warm, sensual, very sweet, as I said. It is gorgeous. Lots of vanilla in this fragrance as well. Very, very vanilla forward. But it's not, there's something about it which is not overly sweet, because I personally don't like very, very sweet fragrances. I find them headache inducing, and they can get a bit jarring for me, fragrances which are too sweet, which is probably why I don't wear a lot of gourmands, because a lot of gourmands are too sweet for my taste. But this has been one which every single time I wear it, I love wearing it. I sometimes layer this with Coromandel. They work really nicely together, but yeah, the Merchant of Venice, this one is Andalusian Soul. The final one I'm going to talk about breaks my heart, because this is the only Louis Vuitton fragrance that I own. It's called Turbulences, and you don't really see people talking about this one for one reason: it's been discontinued. And of all the ones to discontinue, they discontinued the one that I was in love with. This was when Louis Vuitton first launched their fragrances, this was in that collection. Turbulences is this is the thing about this fragrance. It's probably one of the most unique fragrances I've ever smelled. This has tuberose, it's got leather, it's got jasmine in this as well, and I can't remember what else it has in the fragrance, but the leather and tuberose in this fragrance, I mean, I would never think to put leather and tuberose together. I know now you have a fragrance from Maison Francis called Tuberose Astral, which I really, really like. But this one, I mean, I would probably wear this more if it wasn't a discontinued fragrance. Like, I'm actually scared to finish this because I can't repurchase it, and it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. Performance on this is incredible. It's beast mode. The tuberose is there, but the leather sort of calms it down, because tuberose is a floral note, which I know a lot of us can struggle with. It's very, very strong. I mean, if you want to smell a strong tuberose, I really do recommend smelling Carnal Flower by Frederic Malle. That is a beast of a tuberose fragrance. It's very, very nice. I don't mind tuberose, but I know some people find it a bit much, and it does overtake a fragrance. But this one, the leather in it and the jasmine are so lovely and really kind of keep the fragrance really grounded. I'm just heartbroken, because I remember when I went to smell it when they all came out, and this was the one that me and the sales associate both agreed with was the best from this collection. Do you know, it's sad. There are so many fragrances that I've discovered and loved, and then they've been discontinued like that. And what can you do? You just have to move on. But yeah, I had to throw that one in because this one was love at first sniff, and yeah, very, very sad. And this at the time was actually, I remember when Louis Vuitton fragrances were they were like £180. Now I think they're upwards of 270 or 265, or I don't even know right now what the price of an LV fragrance is. So those were the fragrances that were love at first sniff. Tell me some of yours, leave your comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video very, very soon. Take care, guys.